Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you my LEGO Heracross MOC. Heracross is a single stage bug and fighting type Pokemon and was first introduced in the Gen 2 Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal games. This MOC has a total of 308 pieces, and at the time of the recording of this video, if you were to buy all the parts needed, it will cost around $60 to $70 Canadian. Please keep in mind this does not include shipping or handling, and your final cost may vary. I always recommend sourcing as many parts as you can from your own collection first, and then only buying the ones that you need, as this will drastically reduce your overall cost. I have also included a link in the video description below to both the parts file and PDF instructions if you're interested in building this yourself. Like with all my other MOCs, I designed this in Stud.io or Studio, while referencing the official artwork, as well as any 3D models and toys that are available online, just to get a better look at the different angles, a sense of scale of the body proportions, and any other details that might be hard to see from the front. For some reason, this MOC was probably one of the trickiest and most troublesome to design at the time, and it wasn't until a year and a half later, when I first attempted this design, that I was finally able to complete it. This doesn't mean I spent every day over that time trying to make this, but instead I had gone through several iterations of the different components, but each time I wasn't able to get far into the design just due to a builder's block. After each attempt, I figured I would just work on other MOCs in the meantime to help me clear my head and maybe find some different building techniques that I could use later on. I think what helped me get over this block was when I started using these quarter round dome and large ship panel or wedge pieces more in some of my other MOCs. And when I was looking at these large ship wedge or panel pieces put together, they kind of resemble the back of a beetle, which gave me an idea on how to build the rest of the body. Building off that momentum, I was finally able to get the rest of the design to a point that I was satisfied with, but there are some areas I would like to improve on, which I'll get into more detail later. So taking a look at the main body, it takes up most of the build, and one of the biggest hurdles was getting the size and shaping of this right, while getting it to fit in line with the design of the face. So during the design, I was going through several building techniques, designed them both in parallel, which meant a lot of trial and error. I wanted to make sure that the spacing of the eyes and the rest of the face didn't look too big or small compared to the body, and vice versa. So coming around to the back, it's mainly built using those quarter round dome and large ship panel or wedge pieces I mentioned earlier, and when put together, they actually follow each other's curvature quite well, so there isn't an awkward edge or lip sticking out, which is that noticeable. I did consider having the large panel pieces to be posable and possibly build foldable wings, but I quickly scrapped that idea since the space inside is quite limited. And I didn't try to have them built and attached separately either, since I had to add that one stud and thickness line in the middle to get the body scale to the face. So if these panels were to be opened, we would just have this awkward wall in between them, so I figured I'd just keep the design simple instead. Coming around to the front, the face was also quite tricky to design, but I tried to have it resemble the official artwork as best as I could. The horn is attached onto a couple of jumper plates, with the main shaft being brick built, using some tiles and an inverted curve slope to have it taper to the tip. I wanted to make sure that the tip of the horn was as thin as possible, so it's just done using some modified tiles and wedge plates, which also help capture its sharpness. Looking at the eyes, I settled on this design, which just uses the 1x2 rounded plate with hollow studs in yellow, and these 1x1 half round tiles in black to try and capture its oval shaping and the yellow outlines. I do think that the eyes stick out a bit too much. I would have liked to have them be one plate in thickness instead, but I just couldn't find any other way to capture the color blocking without the use of custom printed parts or stickers. When I'm designing, I usually try to rely just on the pieces themselves to capture these finer details, and avoid using some printed pieces since they can be relatively rare and are expensive, and I already dislike putting stickers on for official LEGO sets, so I'll avoid using those at all costs. You are able to pose the antennae, and they are built using a handful of pieces, one of which is this angled bar with a stud at one end, which was recently introduced in dark blue in a few sets in 2022. This was one of the other reasons why this MOC took so long to build, because there weren't that many parts in dark blue I wanted to use to best capture certain details. This piece is most common in trans clear or light bluish gray, so it might be a bit hard to find and source compared to the others. I would have also liked the ends of the antennae to be a bit more spherical, so if LEGO does release the larger ball joint piece in dark blue, I'll definitely try and swap it in at some point. Taking a look at the arms, there is some articulation in the shoulder and elbow joints. The shoulders are connected using mixer-style ball joint and socket pieces, but since I tried to minimize the gapping, the range of motion is quite limited. But you can still rotate it 360 degrees and forward and back slightly, but not so much up or down. The shoulders and biceps were tricky to capture since it has a bulb or spherical like shoulder joint with a pretty thin bicep, and there weren't a lot of parts in LEGO that I saw that could best capture this look. There weren't any other dome pieces in dark blue, so I had to settle on using curved slope pieces attached to a snot brick with studs on all 4 sides, and using a couple of jumpers to help fill in some of the gaps, so it can look a bit blocky at certain angles. The biceps use this bar holder piece with a clip at one end, and you can rotate it at this connection. And this was the best piece that I saw that resembled the official design. However, since this piece was also introduced last year, I think it only still comes in one Lunar New Year set, so it is quite rare and hard to source. The elbows are connected using a 1x1 half round plate piece with a bar at one end, so you can angle them side to side and forward and back at this connection, but it can loosen up over time. I think the forearm design was one of the only components I kept from the first iteration, and it's pretty simple with different slopes to get the look of the spikes on the side of the forearms and the bar pieces in white to resemble the fingers or claws. The legs were also brought forward from an earlier iteration of this design and are quite sturdy. There's articulation in the hip and ankle joints since they use some mixer style ball joint and socket pieces, so you're able to rotate the entire leg forward and back and side to side. There's a higher range of motion at the ankles since there's more space, so you're able to get a lot of different angles, which just help it to get it posed and balanced. I chose to have the knees to be fixed at right angles so that it's always in a lower stance, and it just makes it look like it's ready to charge or battle another opponent Pokemon. And you can actually have this lead forward quite a bit while having it still balanced. You just have to be careful, as the toes do tend to come off if you put too much pressure at the front of the feet. Finally, here's how it looks scaled up to a regular minifigure. And here's how it looks scaled up to my LEGO Scissor MOC. I think they look pretty good next to each other, but let me know down in the comment section below which one's your favorite. That's pretty much it for this video. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on this MOC, what your favorite parts are, or if there's anything you want to change. Also, let me know what else you want to see me cover in these reviews. I do read all the comments posted and try to consider your guys' suggestions on future MOCs, but some Pokemon designs are easier to translate to LEGO than others, and some can take a long time to design or figure out, this being a prime example. I try my best to get the MOCs as accurate as they can be, but like I explained earlier, I may end up scrapping or shelving the designs if I don't think it's up to my standards or is beyond my skills at the moment. So try not to make any promises, and I appreciate everyone's patience. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.